Okay, so we've talked a little bit about Irish immigration. We're going to go ahead and start on this paper. These are the instructions for your immigration poster. Please make sure you have your heading in the upper right and that you have your standard in the upper left. You're going to need a pencil or pen, something to write with, or a highlighter. I'm going to use a pen and circle my words. And you're welcome to do the same. We're going to go through and read this. I'd like you to circle and say the words that I circle. Okay, so circle and say the words that I circle. Here we go. Between 1840 and 1860, more than new immigrants settled in the United States. Most came from Ireland, which in the 1840s was suffering from a disease called which destroyed the potato crop, which was that major part of most people's. More than 1 million died of, and even more fled across the Atlantic to the United States. Most settled on where they worked in unskilled jobs in the cities or building canals and railroads. So I want you to underline this part. They worked in unskilled jobs in the cities or building canals and railroads. Let me zoom this in a little bit. Irish women often worked as domestic servants, laboring for up to 16 hours per day. However, for many Irish, conditions in the United States were much better than they had experienced back in. Soon, large Irish communities could be found in the cities of Boston and Philadelphia. Large numbers of native-born Americans feared losing their jobs to who could work for. Others felt threatened by the new immigrants' cultures, and most Americans were Protestants who distrusted, and I want you to just draw a line. Actually, let's circle this word too. Those Americans and others who opposed immigration were called. In 1849, nativists founded a political organization, the Know Nothing Party, that supported measures making it for foreigners to become citizens, or some Know-Nothings even attacked immigrants, causing several in cities like New York and Philadelphia. Many Irish immigrants responded by forming their own, even to protect themselves. Okay, as you move down the page here, you see vocab. There are 5 words that will help you understand some of the things that you will need to explain on your poster. I'm going to add something to your directions here. I would like you to use each of these 5 words somewhere in your poster. I'll explain what your poster is going to look like in just a moment. Here are your instructions, but let me actually go over your poster first, and we'll come back to these instructions here. Okay, so go ahead and get out this paper. Again, at the top, you want to write your heading in the upper right and your standard in the upper left. At the top of this, it says the North, Homework 5, Irish immigration due, and this will be due tomorrow. We'll be working on this today during class and tomorrow during class, or the next 2 class periods. Okay, so you see that there are 5 boxes here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And you also see that there's a map here. Okay, so I want you to look at this. Just take a look at this before we go over instructions. Okay, that same box matches up with this, right? You had 5 boxes, again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and a map. The numbers correspond with what you're going to be asked to do in each box. So in each box, you're going to draw a sketch and write a sentence. You're going to draw a sketch and write a sentence based on what the number says to do. So for example, 1 says, describe and show how many Irish people to the United States. In box 1, you're going to describe and show why many Irish people fled to the United States. So you're going to show a sketch that needs to be colored and a sentence. In box 2, describe and show what kind of many Irish had or did. In 3, you're going to describe and show why many native-born Americans, the Irish. In number 4, describe and show what the know-nothings did to the Irish. And in box 5, describe and show how the Irish. Okay? So those are the things that you're going to put in the boxes. The second part is the map. I'm going to label some things with you, and then I'm going to let you go and color it. The map needs to be colored. Your boxes need to be in color. Okay, so going back to the map. And I'm just referring to the instructions as I do this with you guys. The map, it says, show the location of Ireland, the Atlantic Ocean, and the United States. So I'm going to start with the ocean. I'm going to use blue because water is always what? And land is never what? Okay. So Atlantic Ocean, and right in the middle here, this is the Atlantic Ocean. I'm going to write big enough that I can see it when I stand back. And then these other things I'm going to do in a different color so I don't confuse them with blue. Over here, I'm going to draw a line because I'm not going to have room to fit my words here. So I'm going to draw a line out and then write Ireland out here. Same thing. It would be kind of a little squished if I tried to do that on the United States. So I'm moving it out a little bit. Okay, so we have Ireland, Atlantic Ocean, and United States. It also says to show the location of the cities of New York, Boston, and Philadelphia. Well, New York is on the very, very tip of this tiny little sliver there. So I'm going to write City of New York because New York is a city and a state. Boston is right about there, right above this tiny, tiny, tiny little hook you see there. I'm just going to write Boston. And Philadelphia is right about there, right above this inlet right here. So I'm going to do a dot and then pull it out. Philadelphia. Okay, so we've labeled all the things we need to label. The last step is I'm going to show you what's blue and what's not. This out here, all this is water. Obviously, you're going to do a better job at coloring this. I'm doing this for time's sake. This is all water, 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 water. And then these little lakes, these are the 5 lakes up here. The Finger Lakes, as they call them, in northern United States. And those are all blue. This is blue, 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 and blue. Okay. And a little blue there too. Blue, blue, blue. All right.